whenever you do a project in Seattle, and most places other than Seattle as well, but whenever you do something that has environmental review, which this project does, you have a white sign like that placed. So that's part of our master use permit process. So we applied for the permit in November, and the permit process is 4 to 6 months. But the idea is you get the information out, and then not only do the students see that, but the surrounding public does as well, and they can comment on the project to see if there's any questions or concerns. So it says on the board that the comment period ended on the 10th of January. So we're past that now, but it can be extended if somebody asked for it to. In other words, they might have seen it at the last minute, and the 10th happened to be a Sunday, I believe, if I recall. So somebody can say, I'd like to comment on it, but I didn't get a chance, and they get it extended. We have a permit person we're using that helps us facilitate the process with the city, and they're checking to see if any comments have come in yet. So right now I haven't heard of any comments, but they could range from questions about the existing building, what's happening to that, what's happening with the landscape, what are the impacts. So it could be a myriad of questions that the public can ask. They're not precluded from asking any questions. So depending on the responses, we have to then, depending on the questions, we have to then put together responses that hopefully address that.
So there's been some rumblings about whether we're on schedule, whether we're off schedule. Maybe I don't know how much you can comment on.
Well, sure. Yeah, no, it's obviously a question on everybody's mind. Right now, the schedule is staying the same as what we've set out all along, which is to get the building built by the fall of September of 2011, so that it can be occupied then. Right now, we're going through the process of working on some design elements on the exterior. There's been some concerns voiced by university administration and others about some of the issues with the design of the exterior of the building that need to be rectified before we can move forward. We had originally planned to hopefully have the building permit submittal in by now, but we haven't been able to do that with the concerns with some of the design issues. There are issues that were brought up by the Architectural Commission and haven't been fully addressed to this point. There are issues that we just need to get sorted out. Myself, Dr. Lang, Capital Projects, and we're working with Reluda and Larry McFarland's office to get those sorted out, and hopefully we'll have the resolution to all that by the first week of February, which means we're a little bit behind schedule. What it'll come down to is what can we do to accelerate the schedule with the drawings, with the construction documents. It's not a process that you want to hurry. You want to get them right, because we don't want to go out to bid with drawings that are not as good as we can get them. But it'll also depend on the move to Condon Hall. When do we want that to occur as to best fit the ECC program? Yeah. Victor has laid out a schedule that he'd like to comply with, and as of now, we're sticking with that schedule. We may have to adjust a little bit depending on what happens with the design reconciliation, but the goal as of now is still to try and get the building built and be able to be occupying it for the fall of 2011.
Is there a contingency to, okay, let's say we don't want to compress anything and we're a little bit behind, so maybe we just make the building be finished not in August but maybe in December?
The contingency is that the money is not in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that we made very clear to Dr. Lang, is that that's not an issue. It's just about timing. Mm-hmm. And I believe I'd have to go back and actually reread the letter from the provost that was addressed to Sheila, to Dr. Lang, but I think that there wouldn't be an issue for us having to stay perhaps a month or two or a quarter or whatever it is in Condon Hall. I don't think that that's the issue. The issue from my perspective and the capital projects perspective is what makes the most, and as we work the questions out with Sheila and Victor and Gabe, is what makes the most sense for the project. Do we compress it and potentially bring on some risk because of compressing it, or do we just elongate the timeline by the several months we have lost and just anticipate that we might not be in fall quarter, we might be in a month or so later. It's all about coming in during a quarter or coming in at the quarter break, which is always, I think, preferred because of the moving time. But that'll be the discussion that still, will happen in more detail between Dr. Lang, Victor, myself, and other people in capital projects. One of the things that'll play into that is the move to Condon Hall. Originally, we had talked about that we'd be moving to Condon Hall onto the 3rd floor, and Victor is interested in perhaps looking at a different floor, the 7th floor of Condon Hall. That might suit how the ECC works in the interim a little bit better. And that's a meeting that'll be taking place, I believe, the first part of next week between Dr. Lang, Victor, and Kim Weisskopf, who's our move coordinator from Capital Projects, and Dr. Gallardo too, to take a look at it and see if that's actually a more appropriate space. We've been assigned space in Condon Hall by the provost, so the space is there for us to use. Now it's just kind of sorting where everybody falls into the puzzle.